YouTube? Hey Blasian babes, welcome to my new video. I feel like every time I record a video for y'all, I have a new name for you guys. It's always like Blasian gang. Today is Blasian babes. I have not found a name that I'm just like, yes, that's what I'm gonna call my viewers. Whoop-de-whoop. So today is Blasian babes, and y'all just gonna have to roll with it until I really find a name that I am just like, yes, so set on. This video is going to be a highly requested video. What happened between me and NLE Choppa? This is kind of a my story type video. I've been going back and forth debating on whether I wanted to do the video or not, if I wanted to speak on kind of my experience, what I went through dating him, why it didn't work out or not, simply because you guys know, or those who don't know me, I am very a private person when it comes to my relationships. Yes, I post my partner and everything that we do, but the nitty-gritty, like personal aspect of my relationships, I tend to keep private. And this will actually be the first time that I ever speak on any of my relationships. The reason why I'm doing this video is, one, it's not for clout. It's not to bash anybody. It's not to tarnish anybody's image. It's simply my truth. The real story behind what happened between me and him. It's a lot of rumors about I'm the reason why he can't see his child, or this and that, and I'm just going to clarify all of the confusion in this video. Every opportunity that Bryson has had to choose whether he wanted to speak on me in the situation that happened between him and I or not, he chose to speak on it. And regardless if he spoke on it or me negatively, he still chose to speak on it. And like I said, I'm not a person who likes to be talked about or my business on social media. So when I started seeing interviews and stuff like that of him speaking on what happened between him and I'm not gonna lie, I did feel some type of way, because I specifically remember one interview where they asked him like what happened to Blasian, and he, long story short, was basically like, when you and somebody else are not on the right path, it just brings a lot of drama and this and that. And I want to say the truth behind all of that, because I feel like that was far off from the reality of what happened between him and I. So again, it's not to bash anybody. It's not to make anybody look bad. It's not to clout chase. It's not to that I want attention. It's just me saying my story and what really happened. If it's one side of the story being put out and it's from his perspective and he feels like he has not done any wrong and doesn't see any wrong in how he treated me or put me through, it's on me to clarify that and tell y'all the real. And I'm gonna say, yes, I've done things during our relationship that could have caused some of the incidents that we went through, or, you know, I'm not perfect. Nobody is perfect. But what we're not going to do is sit up here and act like I was the main reason why things didn't work out. That's just like an overview of what I'm going to be talking about in this video. You guys have been dying for this video. I don't know why. It's so highly requested, and I said I wasn't going to drop it until I reached like 40K subscribers on YouTube. But with an incident that happened like last week, if y'all don't know, me and Sky Jackson not really got into it, but I guess the shade room painted it out to be like we got into it. I was just like, all right, this is like the time to drop it, since it's like trending. Everybody is talking about it. Everybody is really wondering now what happened between him and I, and why I'm so bitter and jealous when it's really not that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn your post notifications on, and give this video a thumbs up. Let's get into this long-awaited video.
Daughter sassy, yeah, that's that Blasian, yeah.
sure where I want to start. I guess I will start with how me and him met. Me and Bryson met like, well, our first initial conversation ever started when he had commented on my story about some eyelashes that I had posted for promo for somebody's company. I think I still have a screenshot of the message. If I do, I'll post it here. All the message was saying was, them motherfuckers is long as hell. And I was just like, yeah, I know, but I gotta promote them. Yada, yada, yada. Gotta get the bag. That was it. Then after that conversation, me and him started following each other on Instagram. Mind you, keep in mind, at this time, I did not know he had a girlfriend or they was on and off or whatever his situation was. And I wasn't looking for any answers to those questions because it was like innocent conversation. It wasn't supposed to go anywhere. It wasn't never of us flirting or any of that. After that conversation, he had went live one time. I think it was after one of his shows. He was with his friends and family. It looked like they were out at dinner, and I had joined his live. And once he had saw that I was in his live, he was like, "Hey, Blasian," and blew me a kiss. And I was like, "Hey, LOL." And I remember being so nervous that like the fan pages were gonna see and they were gonna start posting it and making it a bigger deal than what it really was, because as we all know, people misinterpret things on social media and blow them up into bigger situations than what they really are. And I had just got out of my situationship with Contrell, so I wasn't really ready to be seen corresponding with any other person in the industry. So I was really on 10 about that. But thankfully, nothing happened. Nothing blew up. It was just that. A few lives after that, he ended up going live with this girl. And come to find out, the girl was his girlfriend at the time. Which I did not have any knowledge of. I did not know about. I didn't know he was in a relationship or he was talking to somebody. But it didn't matter to me. I saw that they were in a relationship. I saw that he was talking to her. And I just, oh, okay. Like, fell back. Like, that's how I am. When I'm not a homewrecker. I don't talk to people in relationships or situationships or people with baby mamas. Like, that's not my thing. So I took that as my, okay, like, cut off all ties. After that, after I seen that, realized what he had going on, I decided to cut things off completely. I blocked him on Instagram, I think, or we unfollowed each other. We didn't speak. I blocked him from texting my phone and left that situation at that. Fast forward a little bit to Bruin Family Weekend. I finally got news that I got accepted into my dream school, UCLA, and it was Family Weekend coming up, and I'm not sure how me and Bryson ended up like corresponding again, but somehow we did. And he just so happened was going to be in LA the same weekend I was going to be LA for campus tours, family weekend, whatever. And we said, okay, like, let's link, like, let's finally meet each other after all this time. It had been like a year or a little over a year that we had first initially spoke. So I was like, okay, family weekend, like, we both want to be in LA, like, yeah, let's link up, it's good. The day I was leaving LA to go back to San Francisco, he was coming to LA from Memphis, and just timing was off, and I ended up leaving LA right before he landed in LA, so we didn't get to meet that weekend. No pressure, no big deal, whatever. Some months go by. We probably spoke maybe once or twice after we were supposed to meet in LA. He would just call every now and then, like, what's up, you been good, what you been on? That's it. Conversation never lasted probably more than 30 minutes. It was time for me to move down to LA for school, and at that time I was in a relationship. And I'm gonna say this for all the girls out there that are going to college, applying to college, gonna move into dorms, whatever. Do not, I repeat, do not go away to school in a relationship. Do not waste your time in doing that, because I'm telling you right now, it will not work. I tried doing that, and that's where I messed up. My relationship did not last more than like 7 months, and upon those 7 months, like, majority of it was us arguing and a bunch of like weird stuff going on. Long story short, the boy who I was in a relationship with during my first year at UCLA, he little like, I had no recognition. I did not know any of this was going on until we broke up. But he was hacking my Instagram, hacking my iCloud, stealing my contacts from my phone, like calling and texting my roommates and people that he knew I was hanging out with on campus, calling them and asking them where I was, who I was with, just to make sure like I wasn't doing nothing I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I didn't know this until the day we broke up. He was changing the captions on my pictures. He was deleting pictures from my page, deleting stuff from my highlights, just really like psycho, real crazy. And I've never seen that side of him. And when I finally saw that side of him, I was like, whoa, that's enough. In the middle of breaking up with my boyfriend at the time, and I unblocked Bryson's phone number. Mind you, Bryson had been blocked for like months up until this point. So I unblocked his phone number, and I kid you not, literally 10 minutes after I unblocked his number, he called me. And when he called me, the first thing was like, where you at? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm in LA. I'm at school. And I was like, where are you at? He was like, I'm in LA. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you're lying. You're not in LA. And he was like, yes, I am. And I'm finna come get you tonight, and we're finna go out. You're gonna have a good time with me. You know how long a nigga's been wanting to see you, be around you, kick it with you. Like, I'm finna come get you. And I'm on the phone like, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Like, I had, you know, I was still kind of like protective of the fact that I had dealings with Control, and I wasn't ready to be seen with anybody else that was in the industry. I'm just like, I don't know, like, I don't want nobody to see that we're together. I'm not ready for that attention and all the media and press and the fan pages knowing. So I'm like, I don't know, like, I think I'm gonna just stay in. And so I called my best friend. I'm like, bitch, guess who just called me? And she was like, who? I'm like, Chopper. And she was like, what did he say? Da, da, da. I'm like, he wants to take me out tonight. And she was like, Jonah, you better go. Like, y'all been talking for this long, blah 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 blah, like, you need to go. And I'm just like, I don't know, like, you know, like, I'm not ready for all that, and he's young, blah blah blah. And she was just like, go. So I'm like, okay, it's Grammys weekend, just fresh out of a relationship, like, what, like, let me just go have a good time. So I ended up telling him, okay, fine, come get me. Got in the shower, got dressed, woo, woo, woo. He came to my dorm and like picked me up like a gentleman. When I first saw him, I was so nervous, you guys. I was like, oh my God, like, this is somebody that I've known, spoke to like for over a year now, probably like almost 2 years, and we're finally meeting. Like, this is just crazy. So he picks me up, we go. I think that night we ended up going like to the studio or whatever. It was just like a whole bunch of chill vibes, nothing major. So that's what, like, that from that night on, we just hit it off. He was such a gentleman to me, y'all. Like, I'm 22. At that time, I was 21, I think. Yeah, 21. And he had shown me a lot, did a lot for me that dudes my age know nothing about. An example is like open the car door for me, and y'all, he would get mad when I would open the car door myself, or any door myself. Like, he would slap my hand and be like, what are you doing? Close the door and open the door up for me again. Like, that type of gentleman stuff. He would buy me flowers. He would bring like stuffed animals to my school when he would pop up at my dorm. Just like the cutest things. Like, After we spent a lot of time together, you know, he was back and forth from LA to Memphis. And of course, at this time, this was before Corona, so he was doing shows and stuff. So when you go from spending so much time with somebody to them having to leave and go back home or go do a show and come back and be gone weeks at a time, you know, you start missing them because you've become accustomed to them being there at your every call. When we would spend time away from each other, you know, we'd fall asleep on the phone with each other, texting 24/7 throughout the day. If not, we're on the phone. He made it a priority to like give back to me after he handled his business. It was like if he wasn't handling his business, if he wasn't gone making money, he was with me. And I just love that about him. Like, I've never been with somebody who loved being around me like that, who sacrificed so much to be around me, who went to go take care of business, then boop, came back to me. I think that's what really like made me really like him, because I never had that. But shortly after the glitz and the glamour, things started to go downhill. And they went downhill like really fast. I'm not getting into details about the specific events that have happened between him and I, just because I feel like that's between him and I would never bash him or paint him out to be this person. That's just not me, regardless of how we ended, what happened, what transpired. Like, it's all love on my end. To sum up everything as to why we didn't work out, I just feel like he had a lot of self issues going on in his life with his family that caused him to be a certain way or handle things the way he handled things. I truly believe that he had a journey, and sometimes people have journeys where it's not meant for anyone to come along on those journeys with that person. It's just solely for that person. And I feel like this was one of those situations where he had a journey that he had to go on without me for the sake of bettering him and addressing his own issues that were present before I came in the picture. I also feel like there were a lot of unaddressed skeletons that he had in his closet that he went so long without addressing that they kind of just piled up. And, you know, as issues and situations continue to pile up, everybody has a breaking point. And once that person hits their breaking point, it's just like everything explodes, everything goes downhill, and it starts to affect you mentally, physically, you as a person. It changes who you are, it changes your interactions with people, it changes just all aspects of your life. I feel like that's what really happened. And I'm not saying he was the only person with unaddressed issues. I'm sure he probably say I had a lot of unaddressed issues that I carried into this relationship that affected the dynamic of our relationship. But a bulk of our relationship issues were on his end. I remember telling myself that, and telling him that I so badly wanted to help him address those issues and help change him and help, you know, prove to him, not help, but prove to him that there is like a greener side to life, to relationships. Like, not all relationships are gonna be like this. And me being the real woman that I am, if I care about somebody, I'm gonna help them. Also, I feel like him going from one relationship into another relationship and not fully healing and accepting the terms on why him and his ex ended had a lot to do with me and him, because I'm not sure what they went through. I'm not sure what happened between them, and I don't really care. It's none of my business. But I feel like whatever he believed happened between him and his ex and their relationship, he believed was going to happen between me and him. I feel like the unaddressed issues that transpired into our relationship to where from jump he already had it figured out and forced himself to believe that I was gonna do the same thing, or I was gonna be the same way, or things were gonna be the same. You know, I didn't get that vibe in the beginning, but as certain situations and disagreements started to happen, I could tell that he kind of started to shut me off and shut me out. As he started acting that way towards me, it forced my hand. It forced me to start being shut off and acting like that. And that, I feel like, contributed a lot to our relationship, because we would go to sleep, wake up, not talking, not saying nothing to each other, go the whole day without speaking. And it was just like we were just coexisting. We weren't even in a relationship anymore. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel like I was wanted. I started to feel like he was neglecting me. I just really started to question myself and my worth and my value and where I could have possibly went wrong for my relationship to get to where it had gotten. I would remember doubting myself so much that I would just break down and cry. Like, I found myself crying so much, y'all. I would lock myself in the bathroom and just be on the phone with my friend for hours, my best friend for hours, just crying and just telling her how bad I wanted to go home, how bad I just wasn't feeling like me anymore, and that I was just sick of it, just sick of just living for somebody else, living somebody else's life that they had created for me. I was no longer Jonah. I was this other person. I was no longer living my own life. This relationship definitely brought me out of who I truly am, and I'm so ashamed to say that, because I probably on social media look like this girl who's just so strong, got a good head on her shoulders, you know, isn't easily like told what to do or follows anybody else. But y'all, when I tell you guys, I lost me. I lost being in touch with my true self. I completely just shied away from everything I stood for. I cut off everybody who loved me, my best friends. I shied away from family. I want to say I even went as far as like avoiding talking to my father, because I knew how he felt about my situation. I knew that he knew I was unhappy. I mean, you guys knew I was unhappy. It was people commenting all the time under my pictures like, oh, you got so skinny, or oh, you must not be in a happy relationship, you look sick. And I can honestly say that I was at my lowest. Like, that relationship with him was when I was at my lowest. But I so desperately tried to mask that and lie to the world and went out of my way to prove to the world that I'm okay. Like, I'm happy and this is where I wanted to be. Deep down inside, I couldn't wait for somebody to come rescue me and just shake me and wake me up and tell me this is not how it's supposed to be. You're more deserving than this. You're worth more than this. But I was just so stuck in living for somebody else and loving somebody else that I forgot how to love me. Like, when you forget how to love yourself, that's like the end of no return. When you don't love yourself, somebody can make you do whatever and live however, and it's so easy to control somebody like that. And I want to say I was letting him control me. I was going for anything he was telling me. I was doing every and anything he wanted me to do. I was changing who I truly was to make him feel more secure and more comfortable with being with me. I'm a beautiful girl. I know that. And I would always tell him, like, you're not the first dude that has found me attractive, and you're not going to be the last. And I can't control how I look, how people perceive me, how people feel about me. But all you and I got is us. I need you to trust me. And I feel like because of insecurities that he didn't trust me. He did not trust me at all. You know, I started changing how I dressed. I started changing all my physical appearance to make somebody else more comfortable. And that goes back to living a life that somebody else had built for me. That wasn't me. You guys, for those who have been following me on Instagram since the beginning, I've always been the type to wear crop tops and shorts and tight clothing. That has just always been me. But when I got with him to make him feel more comfortable, I started changing to make him feel more comfortable. And now that I look back at it, I'm not proud. I regret it because it's taken me a long time to get back to who I was before the relationship. Another aspect that I feel that kind of was a wrench that affected him and how we got along is his family dynamic. I know many people have different upbringings. We all have different family structures and all this and that. And I come from a family that's, you know, I'm taught what love is at a very young age. I'm taught what it's like to have both parents in your life, two active parents in your life. I had all of that growing up. I had the picture perfect family. On his end, he might not have had all that, you know. He shares a lot of that in his songs. He said a lot of that on social media, you know. So comparing my family aspect and his family aspect, it was completely different. And I think we were both taught two different meanings and examples of love. He had this idea of love and what it's like to love somebody, and I had a whole different perspective. And that's kind of where we also bumped heads and where things kind of went left for us. Not to mention the age. I'm 4 years older than him. You know, as they say, boys are already less mature than girls are. So me being 4 years older, you can only imagine the difference in maturity and life experiences and all that. So I had, you know, one up on him as far as relationships and experiences and, you know, just life in general. So I feel like that's also what caused us not to see eye to eye and why we were bumping heads. And maturity, like certain situations where he was clearly wrong in, he saw and felt like he did no wrong. You know, and no matter how much I would try to tell him, this is where you went wrong and this is why I feel the way I feel and how I feel the way I feel, instead of saying like, I'm sorry, I apologize, I see where you're coming from, it was always an argument. I just feel like when you as a couple can't communicate your guys' feelings and your partner doesn't try to understand why or where they could have made you or what they did to make you feel a certain way, you just learn how to tolerate and not address situations anymore because you realize it's not going to go anywhere. I learned how to tolerate and deal with issues that made me unhappy, and instead of speaking about them and bringing them to light, I just kind of swept them under the rug until finally I just had enough. I just thank my parents so much to this day because they're the reason why I finally decided to leave. I'll never forget, they had came to LA to visit me because I had already been away from home for like a month or 2 months. They brought my brother down to visit me for the weekend, and me and Bryson had already been going at it, I think, a few days before they got there. When the first day that they got there, we were still not speaking. It was just awkward between me and him, but we tried to put on this front like everything was okay. So he ended up leaving the penthouse, and I was just there with his dad and my parents and my brothers. I was just so sad, and I had texted him as he was gone. He had took the car and left. I had texted him like, can you please come and talk to me? blah, 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 blah. And he basically like brushed me off as if my feelings did not matter or were not a priority to address. You know, my dad is my best friend. He always is the person that I run to for advice when it comes to my relationships, because he is a man. He knows how boys think. He's been there and done that. He just really reassured me that I deserve more than this. He could tell I was unhappy. I don't normally stand for stuff like this, so why would I start standing for it now? As much as I wanted to stay, I just knew I couldn't. Him not coming to speak to me that day was like the final sign for me to get my stuff and go. I was no longer a priority to him, and our relationship had already went to shit. So, you know, I'm stuck like, why am I so desperately trying to save a relationship that he doesn't care about saving? So I packed my stuff up, all my stuff, and I left. I think that was the last time I ever really saw him again, other than his graduation. But that was like the last time I really saw him when we were on decent terms. All I can say is that was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life, because it allowed me to find myself again. It allowed me to remember who I was, to wake up, to realize that I deserved more than what I was getting, more than the situation that I was in. And it showed him that he could no longer treat me how he was treating me. It showed him that if he didn't get his stuff together, that I was gonna go. You know, I had never left him like that ever before, which is why I feel like he got away with a lot. But it was that moment, if no other moment showed him that I wasn't standing for that anymore. Like I said, I can't thank my parents enough for that. You know, I'm grown. I was 21 at that time, but I still relied on my parents. And I still to this day rely on my parents, especially my dad, when it comes to my relationships. You know, you're never too old to seek advice from your parents, because no matter how old you are, they have more knowledge of the game. They've been in more situations. They've been in that situation probably multiple times. All this was kind of new to me. So, yeah, I seeked guidance from them, and that was probably like the best thing I could have done. Not for my relationship, not for him, but for me. I finally chose me. Regardless of how he was going to feel, how he was going to react, what anybody thought of me, it was time for me to choose me and walk away. And I did just that. So overall, I just feel like in a relationship, you and your partner are supposed to walk side by side. And I started to feel like he was walking in front of me and I was just following in his footsteps. When a relationship goes so far to the point of no return, there's really nothing you can do to rekindle that bond, to fix your relationship. And I just feel like it had just gone to a point of no return. There was nothing else that I could possibly do. There was no more fight in me. I had really given up. Like, I felt like I had just got my whooped in a fight being in that relationship. And I'm honestly very proud of myself to be able to tell this story, because I know it's so many girls out there that go through or are going through, have been through the same exact situation as me. And I just want to say, like, you're not alone. It happens to all of us. You just use that relationship, that situation as a learning experience to not make the same mistakes, to go into a relationship with a different plan, with a different, you know, with your eyes open. I could definitely say that situation has made me a lot stronger, a lot wiser, a lot smarter, and a lot more cautious of who I allowed to get close to me in my heart. I also want to bring up the fact that a lot of people think that I am the reason why he cannot see his child, and I want to say that that is not the reason. I am not the reason why he cannot see Clover or why he hasn't seen her. I actually have nothing to do with that situation. Any drama that happened or transpired between me and Mariah was not because I was looking to start issues with her. In the beginning, when I guess drama first happened between me and her, it was because she was texting Bryson's phone all these like negative things about me, calling me names and stuff like that. And I always, gave her the benefit of the doubt, because if I was carrying the seed of my ex and me and him were no longer together and I found out of his new relationship through social media, I would be hurt too. And I get the pregnancy hormones, all this and that. So, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I never took anything personal. People talk about me all the time. That's nothing. He felt like when, I guess, he was going through what he was going through with the mother of his child, as far as them trying to figure out how they were going to co-parent, and them going back and forth on Twitter, and him feeling like she was painting him out to be this nasty person, that it was my responsibility to come in and save him and protect his image and defend him and be by his side, when in reality that was not my job. What him and his baby mama had, whatever transpired between him and her, I told Bryson out of my own mouth, that's between you and her. I'm not going to step on anybody's toes. I'm not going to get into it, because I knew by me getting into it, it could have potentially worsened his potential relationship with his child. Because now it was going to be a reason, oh, I don't want my baby around her because she disrespected me or whatever. So to avoid that being a reason why he couldn't see his child, I chose on many occasions to stay out of the drama. Now, there were times where I probably have said something that made her feel like I was coming for her, or made it look like on social media that I was coming for her. But that was just simply because I was made to feel like it was my responsibility to defend him. And when I wouldn't defend him, and when I wouldn't come, be Captain Save-A-Ho, it caused arguments and friction in our relationship. And I wanted to avoid that by any means. So, yeah, sometimes I might have said something back in his defense. But for the most part, I tried to stay out of it. And for those who know me know I don't really be in drama. I'm not really for drama. So for me to kind of, say something was like out of my element, out of who I was. But again, I did that to prove to him that I'm a ride or die. Like, I'm with you till the wheels fall off. We in this together. With that being said, I don't have any issues with his baby mama. I don't have issues with anybody. Yeah. So with that all being said, this brings us to the end of this video. And there's no bad blood in my heart. There's no hatred towards Bryson. I just really felt like it was time for me to say my piece, my story, what really transpired between me and him. Because like I said, I feel like a lot of people believe that I'm just this negative person, this dramaed out person, and I'm really not. And I felt like I was finally ready to speak on it after this long. I had to, of course, get into a place where I could separate my personal feelings and just tell the story for what it was without bashing anybody, because that was not my intentions to bash anybody with this video. Again, I have no bad blood with Bryson, nor do I have any beef or problems with the mother of his child. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video since you guys have been bugging me for it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And turn your post notifications on and thumbs up this video, y'all. It took me a lot of balls to come and record this video because I wanted to really make sure that I didn't bash him, because I don't feel like I'm never going to be that. I don't ever want to be that bitter person that just gets on here and just talks so bad about somebody. No, that's not me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in my next video. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.